Good afternoon, cardiologist here today. Today we are going to be removing and replacing glow plugs. We're going to remount the glow plugs. We're going to talk about it. I have the engine cover off my car. This is my diesel, W211. This is the E320 CDI, made in 05 and 06. This one's in 06. Alright, so right here is the plug for, electrical plug for the glow plug number 1, and then here's number 2, and then number 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So there are 6 of them. We're going to start off by taking off the electric plug with the needle nose pliers and then pulling it out. Got to be careful so they don't snap off. Alright, so let's get one that you can see. I'm going to do number 2 first instead of number 1, just because it's visible. I used the needle nose pliers right here, and I took off the plastic cap. Then I'm going to take a deep number 10 socket, and you can see the glow plug, maybe. Yeah, there she is, right in there. Now, what you don't want is for these things to snap off. The engine should be warm. Don't use too much force. The book says if you use more than 25 Newton meters, it's a problem. So let's go nice and easy. Here it comes. Very slow. Very nice. Alright, now when I put these in, I used anti-seize. I like to change my glow plugs every 60,000 miles on this car. And I always use anti-seize, and the correct torque spec is 19 Newton meters when you put this thing in. If you do that, you're not going to get glow plugs stuck in your cylinder head. Alright, this is what the glow plug looks like when it came out. You can still see the remnants of the anti-seize, which is why it came out in one piece, and you can see that the tip is very carboned and kind of messed up. Alright, I'm going to check the resistance. So the resistance on that glow plug was about 1.5 ohms, and that's good. That's pretty much the same as the new ones. So this glow plug was not dead, but sometimes the carbon gets in there and the function of it is reduced. So we're going to ream it out and clean the carbon from those holes. Let me try to remove the other ones while the engine is still hot. Alright, so using that technique, I got all 6 out. Now, the key to getting them out is how they're put in. They have to be put in every 50 or 60,000 miles. You have to use anti-seize. You have to torque them to no more than 19 Newton meters. If this has not been done, you may not want to do this job. You may bring it to somebody, because if these things snap off, and sometimes they do, then you have, as Kent calls it, a major wrench dance on your hands, and you're in big trouble, and you'll need somebody with some skills and with the proper equipment and kit to get this thing out. Now you're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Worst case scenario, the whole head off the car. Alright, the next step, get yourself the appropriate glow plug reaming tool for your car. This is a Hazit tool that's meant for this type of pencil glow plugs, and it has a reamer here. I'm going to use a little wheel bearing grease. I put the grease over here. That'll kind of trap the carbon, and then I'm going to do it a few times in each hole. I'll show you. Alright, some green wheel bearing grease. Again, number 2 seems to be the most visible, so we'll just put this down into number 2. And then I'm going to get my socket wrench. I'm going to get the threads started using this needle nose pliers, just to know that the threads are biting and not cross-threaded. Never want to take a tool that has good torque to it into threads, because until you know it's not cross-threaded. Alright, once I know it's in, I'll take the socket wrench. Alright, so here's the socket wrench, and I'm just going in nicely. There's not too much resistance, so that's good. And notice I'm gripping it not near the handle. I don't want too much leverage. I specifically don't want that because you don't want to make anything tight or have anything snap off. So now I know I'm down, and I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to come back up. And then let's see what kind of crud comes out with this. Put that there. Just unscrew this. By doing this all by hand, you know that you're not going to hurt or cross-thread anything. Okay, look what we got. So, that's a bunch of junk. Let's wipe that off and go down and do it again. The reason that we do this and get all the carbon out of the holes is because the carbon can cause premature glow plug failure by sitting right on the tip like that. So let's see, we got that in there. I'm going to find my needle nose pliers. Starting the threading tool with the needle nose pliers until I know that I'm in the threads and not cross-threaded. Then I'll take this. Now that I've been down there once, shouldn't take too much energy. And if I don't have to use a tool, that's even better. That tells me I really got it. And now I'm all the way down at the end. So I think all I needed was 2 in here. Let me take this out. Let's see how dirty it is the second time. Now again, this is hole number 2. I'll show this to you. I'll wipe it off. And then we'll put in a new glow plug in here. And then we got the other 5 holes to do. Okay, so here we go. And yeah, I got some more, but not nearly as much as the first time. Good. Alright, so I am using Beru glow plugs. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're the ones that are appropriate for this car. Bosch makes them. I've used them. They're okay. I like Beru. That's who makes the glow plug relay module, and I think that it's probably a better quality. The key now is to put some anti-seize right here on these, and then 19 Newton meters. My brush is a little bit gloppy and dirty, but I'll wipe off the excess and make sure it gets where it's going. I think for this there's nothing like using the finger. Yeah. Okay then. Alright. So I'm working again in hole number 2 and just doing the whole thing by hand. Hopefully it'll thread. Hopefully it'll go. Okay, yeah, it tightens down now. Okay, I'm going to get my torque wrench, set it to 19. Alright, torque wrench on. Nice and slowly to 19. Perfect. And let's take that out. Alright, so that is number 2. And we finish off by taking the plug and putting it in. Now, let me tell you about these plugs. These plugs get brittle and nasty, and I actually replaced them the last time. You can get them from the catalog for a Sprinter, and it seems to be the same, and this is the part number. And hopefully you guys can read that, and then you can always order that if you have to from the Sprinter catalog. Alright, I put on the plug. It was a very positive connection where I heard it click, and that is how you do it. I'm going to repeat this process for number 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll see how it goes. Alright, so that takes care of the glow plugs. Now, while I was inspecting the car, I'm looking at the injectors. I've always been looking for Black Death. I have never had Black Death, and I'm just starting to see it. So number 1 is dry, number 2 is a little bit moist with a little bit of Black Death. Number 3 is just the beginning. Number 4 might be a tiny bit. 5 and 6 are dry. So, looks to me like really 3 is the worst and maybe 2. I'm going to have to reseal this. That's okay. After 280,000 miles, I think it's due. So I want to get on top of this before I get full-blown Black Death. That'll be another video.